Yo,
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 yo. What
yo.
is poppin'? It has been
Mm,
a month, Anthony. How are we
mm,
feeling?
mm, mm.
How are we doing, man? Give us a life
You know
update.
what? You know what? We're doing great. Overall, we're doing fantastic. What an off season it's been already. First off, I want to
Dude,
point that
it has
out
been
there.
eventful.
Um, I
Eventful.
will I will say overall, I don't know about any of you all, the rest of you. After the Super Bowl, the events of the Super Bowl, I will just straight up just say I woke up so incredibly happy knowing that the Kansas City Chiefs were not Super Bowl champions
Oh,
in
yeah. Oh,
2025.
yeah.
Like it was
Yep.
great. It was awesome.
It was weeks of them just getting shit on. I was like, this is fucking awesome.
This is great. Exactly. Yeah. And then, city
Like,
of Philadelphia burning down even though they won.
yep.
What could be
Now
better
you can
than
feel how
this?
I feel because we lose every fucking Super Bowl that we get in,
Yeah. No,
unfortunately.
it
But
happens,
if
brother.
you guys do not know, we took a month hiatus because, sometimes this gets to be a little too much and a break is needed. And that is exactly what we did. We took a break for a month after the Super Bowl and we are back. We are going to be doing bi-weekly episodes. So stick to that. That's going to be the new routine. It's going to be dropping on Friday. So in past, it has been dropping on Thursdays just because of the game. But we said during the off season, we'll just do bi-weekly and drop it on Fridays just to make it easy. So be on the lookout for that. That's going to be our schedule for the next couple of months until we get started. But it's been a month, man. Anthony, besides not watching the Kansas City Chiefs celebrate
Hmm.
and enjoying that the Kansas City Chiefs did not celebrate, how has your month been? Good? How's life?
Yeah, good. Went to most recent conference I had to go to, which was a good time. I got to watch shit burn, which is cool. Always very knowledgeable, always fun.
Yep,
Um, Something new, thanks to Zachary Boyson here. I'm back in the gym with him.
we're
So that's
back.
been good.
We are
We're
fucking
so
back,
back.
baby.
We're
We are
so
fucking
back.
back. We're even
So
more back because even before this, I mean, we would always yap about ball, but now we can yap about ball on the pod and go to the gym at the same time. It's a
ex-
win-win. This is what we used to do in the fucking olden days of college, which was like 4 years
yes.
ago, but it's not that fucking bad. I just wanted to say that. But we're
Oh,
back. We are fully
yeah.
back. That's good though, man. Seems like that
It's
investigating conference was good, and you learned a lot and talked to a lot of people. And really, other
yeah.
than that, I mean, we've just been chilling.
Yeah.
Some buddies have been
Um,
visiting. I'm gonna take off my shoes because these are starting to get really uncomfortable.
okay.
Go for it
You
though
do
if you
that.
want to finish.
Yeah. That's about it though, man. Just having a good time with friends out here. And yeah, what about you though, man? What's going on with
Yeah,
you? Tell
I
the
didn't mean
viewers
to
what's going on with
interrupt,
you.
but I mean
No,
that's
yeah.
pretty much it, man. Work has been really fucking stressful recently, which makes sense just because we're kind of getting into the project side of things where things start to ramp up. So I've been stressed a little bit. I will say though, taking what are you doing? I thought
Adjusting
you
the
were trying to
strings.
point that to me or point that out to me. I was like, what are you doing? But
No.
I will say taking Ant to the gym has been pretty cool. It's been a good stress reliever, which has been nice. Been watching a little bit of my show, The Peaky Blinders, which has been cool. And I'm really just excited to talk ball, man. I'm missing it. I will say it was awesome to wake up and see Kansas City get shit on for about 2 weeks, but it was even worse after that 2 week mark, knowing that football is not fucking happening on Sundays. That feeling is awful. Like, dude, football Sunday is like a part of our life for like 6 months or
Yeah.
however long it is, 4 months. But
Yeah.
and to not have it, it's just shitty, man. I love football. I'm missing it. I'm glad that we could talk about it. But other than that, gym, work. Now we can talk some balls. So, oh, I will say I did not give this update, and it does kind of suck. We do have a bit of a sad update. Our third member is going to be no longer with us, Keaton Simone.
Hmm.
We love you, man. All love. I believe that someone else will probably join us. We still have not necessarily figured that out, but it'll probably be my brother, Cody, if you guys have seen him in this about that. In the meantime, it's just going to be Anthony and I for the off season. If someone wants to join, they can join bi-weekly, dropping Fridays. So that's our update. We're going to get straight into it.
Green 18. Red 48. Settle down, settle down. White 80. Set hut.
We suck. We suck. Get rid of Belichick. Get rid of Mac Jones. Get rid of our entire fucking receiving core.
You guys are 2-8.
That's what I thought.
2-7, 2-8. It doesn't matter. We still suck.
So Seahawks played the Ravens. Final score was 28-25. Geno Smith, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions.
He's a
Anyway,
fuck, dude.
not really much to write home about that game. Just
Right.
This is egregious.
I don't think Jared Goff is a top 5 quarterback in the NFC.
Wait,
I think
Are you putting Justin Herbert over Jared Goff?
Yes.
It was like an interview for like a new podcast company.
Yeah.
Called Brazzers. I mean, you could see I'm literally in the headquarters right now, dude.
Oh man.
That one hit
Meaty
hard.
Petey.
I know.
R.I.P.
Hey Zach.
Petey.
So I'm sorry. I'm just gonna drop it right now on you. Okay, we were talking about. So for the viewers right now, we were just talking about this in the gym. Okay, and seeing this intro just. So Zach, in the very very beginning of the intro, I was crashing out a little bit there. What was I crashing out about there? Name the 2 things I was crashing out about. What was the first one?
New England. We suck.
And why?
And because of Mac Jones.
Because of Mac Jones. And guess what? Guess what, Zach?
I know. I've seen it already. You show me. You don't have to fucking rub it in. He's a goddamn 49er. And this is a pre-crash out because I'm fucking over this shit. We're going to get into it. But before we do, this offseason is going to have, also, fuck you. This offseason is going to have a very similar format to the regular season. We're just going to go through basically what's happened, give our overview, summary, and then we'll move into some like other segments. So for today, we're going to go through all of the big offseason players that were added to different teams. We'll go into the winners and losers from the offseason, go into a blind ranking, and that will wrap it up. So, Anthony, let's get into it. I guess I'm fucking forced to start with Mac Jones going to the Niners because you brought it up. Mac Jones has been brought to the Niners on a 2-year deal as the backup quarterback, I would assume, unless Brock magically disappears. Look, I'll talk about all that later. I don't need to talk about the Niners right now. I'm going to just get pissed off before I want to. We got a lot of players. It honestly has been a really eventful month. Really an eventful week, to be honest with you.
Not even a week.
So
I'd say,
we're going to go
if
down
anything,
the list.
3 days.
The last 3 days. So we're really just going to go down this list. And then we'll talk about the winners and losers. But Joey Bosa got signed to the Bills on a 1-year, $12.6 million contract. The Niners were second in line. Again, won't crash out, but I will crash out later. I guess we offered him $10 million, and he wanted to go to the Bills instead. Understandable. DK Metcalf was signed by the Steelers on a 5-year, $150 million contract deal. That's $30 million a year. That is way overpaid, but we probably will not talk about them, at least for the winners and losers from the offseason. So, Anthony, do you have anything to say? Do you agree with that? I mean, $30 million for DK to me is way too.
$30 million for
Don't
DK
have to get into it
is
too much.
Yeah.
Say whatever you think, but that is ridiculous.
Just gonna keep it real brief with this one. Yeah, no, little ridiculous. Yes, I think he's a stud. He's a great receiver and everything. But 30 mil, 150 mil, 5 years.
That's top 5 wide receiver money
He's not top 5. He's not top 5 though.
for a dude that's 6'3" and plays like he's 5'9". Anyways, moving on. Another wide receiver, another guy that I will not crash out about right now, but will later. Deebo Samuel was traded to the Commanders on a 1-year, $17.5 million deal that remains from the 49ers contract, which means that is dead cap space. Nice. Sam Darnold was signed by the Seahawks on a 3-year, $100.5 million deal. I don't mind this. $30 million for a guy that has played decent. You never know. And with that being said, there's an obvious fucking reason as to why they picked him, because Geno Smith was traded to the Raiders on a 1-year, $31 million contract, which remains basically from the contract that Seattle sent him over there for. However, they're trying to work out a different deal right now to have him stay longer there. So that one's still in the talks, but the 1 year, $31 million deal that remains from Seattle is intact as of now. Anthony, what do you think about Sam Darnold and Geno Smith, just because they're kind of teetering off the same team?
I like the trade for I like what the Seahawks are doing with Sam Darnold, at least. I think it's a great move, honestly. We've really seen honestly what Sam Darnold can do with some good weapons. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
He's great. He's not like super good or anything like that, but I mean, he's proven that he can do it, right? He worked with the Viking system. Awesome. Let's see how he can do it with the Seahawks, right? And I think it's good they signed him for the 3 years. I will say though, I don't know if I like that from the Vikings perspective, though, if I'm going to be honest. They're legit putting everything in J.J. McCarthy right now, in my eyes.
Or throw back a little bit and get a veteran quarterback that used to play for Green Bay.
Brett Favre. Oh, sorry. Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, they're going to do that. But I couldn't agree more, honestly. I think that this is an upgrade for Seattle. I do think Geno – hold on. I will say this. I think it's an upgrade for the future for Seattle because not only will Sam Darnold be decent for 3 years, and when I say decent, I think he can be better than Geno, but I do think Geno is better than Sam. However, he's getting old. So it makes sense why they wanted to move off from him. But I think Seattle will eventually draft a quarterback, and Sam Darnold, going through everything that Sam Darnold has gone through, will be able to teach this guy, and he'll be good for that. Now, do I think in the next 2 years or maybe this next upcoming year, this was a better move? Probably not, just because Geno Smith is, if not the most accurate quarterback in the league, probably second most accurate quarterback in the league. He doesn't make a ton of mistakes unless he starts getting on a roll. Then he makes a lot of mistakes. And in that sense, Sam and him are pretty similar. Sam's a little less accurate, but we saw what Sam can do with a good offense. And I think Seattle has a good enough offense, even with getting rid of both him and DK. So we'll see. I don't think it's necessarily an upgrade, but I don't think it's necessarily a downgrade. Like, I feel like it's just kind of middle of the line.
Right. And then for the Geno Smith, all I'm going to say is Geno and Jacoby, they're going to feed families. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, God.
I think so.
I just can't wait to see Tyler Lewis crash out about Geno Smith.
I think Geno and Jacoby are going to connect. I think he's
going to do well. I'm just saying, I just can't wait for him to say, "This motherfucker, why the fuck did you give it to him or give us to him, fucking Keaton?" Crazy shit.
It's going to be great.
All righty, well, moving on, we got Josh Sweat to the Cardinals. He signed for a 4-year, $76.4 million deal. I want to do the math on that. 76.4 divided by 4. $19.1 million a year. That is a fucking steal for the Cardinals. That is a hell of a pickup. I shouldn't say I'm excited for the Cardinals, but I am genuinely excited for the Cardinals. And if I was a fan, I'd be ecstatic for that because Sweat, when he's going, he's one of the better edge rushers in the league. Moving on to a quarterback, Josh Allen got extended for a 6-year, $330 million contract, making him tied for the highest paid quarterback in the league and NFL history, I believe. Myles Garrett. Actually, I want to do this in opposite forms or opposite in the way that we have it written down just because I'll talk about it. Max Crosby got an extension for 3 years, $106.5 million, which comes out to $35.5 million a year. And if you don't know, Myles Garrett during this offseason had requested a trade multiple times. However, after seeing Max get extended to $35.5, which I believe made him the highest paid defensive player ever yearly, Myles Garrett got extended for $4.5 million per year more and is now staying with the Browns. And that will make him 32 by the time his contract is up, which makes Myles Garrett 32 and Super Bowl-less because they will not be competitive. Guess he doesn't want to win.
Nope.
Don't know. The Rams actually signed a decent little wide receiver here, man. They're getting rid of Cooper Kupp, which he has not signed with the team yet, but he has been released by the team. And the reason for that is because Devontae Adams was signed to the Rams for a 2-year, $46 million deal. I love this. I love this for the Rams. Again, I keep saying that I love this for divisional rivals, but I think this is just a better Cooper Kupp. Like, I seriously think that Adams has shown that he hasn't The only thing that Adams has really shown that has kind of fallen off is his hands, which I think might be due to the lack of motivation that he could have had playing with the Jets, just because that was a tough season. But everything else, he's still running routes at a fucking elite level. He's still fucking getting separation. He's still catching the ball at a high rate, at least yardage-wise. I think he averaged the third most yards per game in the league last year, behind Malik Neighbors and who was second? Amon St. Brown. So when he plays, and he's been decent. It's just those hands. Again, I think this is a great pickup, but I will say I'm very curious as to where Cooper Kupp will land. And I think we'll probably be talking about a team later that Anthony likes that will get him. We'll see, though. J.C. Horn was re-signed for a 4-year, $100 million contract. Phenomenal contract for him. He balled the fuck out. Deserves every penny of that. To be honest with you, he's a top 3. So I would have given him that money in a heartbeat, and he's extremely young. So shout out to JC. I really like him. Also do like what they're doing this offseason and what they kind of did at the end of the season. So 500, we shall see. Talking about the Rams yet again, they restructured Matthew Stafford's contract to a 2-year, $58 million contract. There was some weird speculation and even some reports that Matthew Stafford was going to get traded. It was like a big thing for a while. And I think they actually went on to like a podcast, or maybe he had like a press conference or something, ESPN-wise. I can't remember, but he had said that if Matthew was to be gone, then he wouldn't be surprised. But they re-signed him, and here we are. And really the last one is Byron Murphy. He re-signed with the Vikings after a Pro Bowl year, 3 years, $66 million, which makes him and J.C. Horn pretty similar, at least yearly. But that's really it for the big names. Like I said, I'm really excited to see some of our boys crash out, including myself. I can't wait for Tyler to crash out and be like, why the fuck did you give us Geno Keaton, blah, 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 and blame Keaton somehow with this. And I can't wait for fucking Keaton to crash out about goddamn Sam Darnold.
So good.
Oh,
so
man,
good.
oh, man.
It's great.
What a fucking start to the offseason. But speaking about crash outs, it's almost my time to, but we haven't got there yet because we are talking about the winners of the offseason. And like I had mentioned earlier, there is a team that might be getting Cooper Kupp that one of the hosts here, not myself, likes. Anthony, what a hell of an offseason, man.
So happy.
Offseason.
I
mean, you guys genuinely might have had the best offseason out of anyone.
Yes. And you want to know why?
I don't think I'm just saying that.
And you want to know why? Straight up. This is how, because typically this is how the Patriots will do it, right? The amount of cap space that we have and the amount of money that we have, right? We would have done what the Steelers did. We would have looked at one guy and a very hyped up name. I'm just going to use DK Metcalf, for example, okay? Say like we were going after DK,
million?
okay? 30 million, 150 million a year, right? So I'm just going to use DK's name, for example, here, right? Instead of us, like, obviously, yes, this did not happen, but instead of us like paying, I'm just going to say it, 150 million, 5 years for DK Metcalf, right? And just boom, all of our money is like just gone, right? Or a lot of it is gone, right? For one player. We took all that money, not even all of it actually, and we got 5, 6 different players that are all absolute studs for defense, mostly defense, and like 1 or 2 offensive players.
Well,
like,
I don't want to be that guy, but I think it's kind of solidified that you guys are going to have a top 10 defense.
Easily top 10.
Maybe top 5. Top 5.
Top 5.
I think that you guys are definitely going to have a top 10 defense, like guaranteed.
100% a top 10, top 5. You can make an argument for a top 5. You can make a valid argument. You can.
But before we like actually get into like the weeds of it, let's go through some of the key additions, re-signings, and departures.
Yes.
So I think the number one signing of maybe the whole free agency was Milton Williams. And if you don't know who that is, go look it up. He is one of the better defensive linemen in the full NFL, if not probably the second best last year. However, crazy good addition for him. And then we get into it. And if you just go through this, these are pretty much all the positions that the Patriots needed. Carlton Davis, who has been an elite cornerback for probably 5 years now. Fucking phenomenal pickup. Harold Landry, we'll see. He has been a little bit washed recently, but again, he does have some playmaking ability, and he could be decent. Robert Spillane from the Raiders, who has been a phenomenal linebacker for the last 3 years. a tackling machine. Offensive tackle, Morgan Moses, who's been solid. Mac Hollins, which is going to be a solid wide receiver, maybe 3 if you guys get someone else. Again, we talked about Cooper Kupp, and you will be drafting someone. But we'll see. Mac Hollins, yet again, for the Bills, had a phenomenal year.
Yeah.
So, again, these are some of the key additions. You re-sign Austin Hooper and Christian Ellis, which, again, definitely had an impact on your team. Key departures. Devon Godchaux, I don't know how to say that really well.
Godchaux,
I think is how you say it. But him, along with, there was another defensive lineman for your guys' team, and I can't remember his name. Hold on.
all I know is Carlton Davis paired up with Christian Gonzalez back there.
Dude, it's going to be different.
Nuts.
Yeah, give us like your preview of next year. Like, what do you think about all those key players that you guys got?
I like it, honestly. I'm excited because it seems like the Patriots have always had a very, very above average defense. And the last few years, we've been slacking on that drastically. Yes, and offense.
Right.
The whole team, right? The whole team, like, it just in shambles with it, right? But this year could actually be a year where I'm looking at this defense and I'm going, man, we can actually make stops. It's not going to look like we're just going to get – yes. And it's like it's not going to – I feel like it's going to not look like the other team is just going to just run us through the entire down the entire field. And that was always so frustrating because it was always like, why does it seem so difficult for us to get down the field when this other team is just doing it with ease? And that sucked. That sucked to see every week. Terrible. That's why my favorite weeks were bye weeks.
And to be honest with you, I think your offense did not help at all with that. I mean, if you go back and watch that offense, it was brutal. It was fucking brutal.
Terrible.
And if the defense is on the field, if you're a top 15 talent and you're on the field 90% more than any other team, you were going to be a bottom defense no matter what. The only other departure that was mentioned, I'm assuming that there were probably other guys, but the only other notable name was Jacoby Brissett, who went to the Cardinals to be a backup. Not really much of an impact. But, I mean, Devon Godchaux, I'm really hoping I'm saying that right. You can correct me if I'm not. Paired with Barrymore was elite last year. Now you get rid of Devon and you bring in an even better defensive lineman, and then you add Carlton Davis. I keep wanting to say Carlton Davis, who has been an elite cornerback for years now, along with Robert Spillane, who, again, is going to come in and instantly make an impact because your guys' linebackers weren't great last year. I'm telling you, this defense is going to look different. It's going to look different. It's young. You're starting to get that feel back. You need to make a couple more moves, but that was a big one.
I think the most notable thing I can actually say about this defense, on paper, this defense looks like they're actually going to make plays. They're going to make plays, and they're going to force turnovers, and that's what's going to happen. And
you actually got some playmakers.
Yes, we have playmakers.
Some guys that know ball and play ball.
Yes. And I'm
not
excited.
Gonzalez out there. Dude, I'm excited for you, honestly. And we'll be watching together. So maybe I'll be a Patriots fan for this year. Again, we're getting closer to that crash out. Getting closer. I'm going to run through some of the other winners, and then we'll actually get to the losers as well because my team is going to be in that list. So the next team that we have, and honestly, if it wasn't for the Patriots, I think that this team has probably had the best offseason so far, and that is the Vikings. The Vikings have gone ballistic in some of their signings. And again, they're putting all their eggs in one basket. What'd you say?
That's where you and I differ. I think there's a team that did better than the Vikings, in my opinion.
There might be one. Oh, I'm sorry. No, there's definitely one. I misspoke. Actually, I don't even think the Commanders, looking at this list now that I don't think the Vikings, looking at this list now that I've looked at them again, I don't even think that they're probably top 3. Like, I think that them and the Patriots are very close, but there's 2 teams ahead of them. But initially I thought they were, the best team. And then I look at it again, I'm like, oh, it's pretty close. Either way, I think they probably had a top 3 offseason. I'd give them an A to borderline A+ probably offseason. They've been phenomenal. And these are some of the guys they've got. They've got an offensive guard in Will Fries, a cornerback in Isaiah Rodgers, great nickelback for a while now. A center in Ryan Kelly, who's one of the better centers in the league. Jonathan Allen, who is a top 5 defensive tackle in the league. Again, why didn't the Niners go after him? I'm not going to talk about it. And they got another guy from us, defensive tackle Javon Hargrave, who is one of the 9 guys we released. Key re-signings, Aaron Jones and Byron Murphy. This was the main one that I wanted to talk about. We talked about it earlier. Byron Murphy last year was a top 5 cornerback, and he is fucking phenomenal. And then key departures. We look at this, and it's really not that big of a deal. Sam Darnold, again, if you're going to put all your eggs in one basket, you better do it. You better do it, and that's what they're doing with J.J. McCarthy. Look, if you don't sign a veteran fucking quarterback, you are going fully in on J.J. McCarthy. And if J.J. McCarthy is anything better than Sam Darnold, you are a Super Bowl contender for years. That is what you have created now. Get rid of Sam Darnold. You get rid of Cameron Bynum, which, again, we'll talk about another team that got him pretty soon. And you get rid of Daniel Jones, who was obviously backup. But Bynum, I think, is pretty big. I think the key additions probably override that. Great offseason for the Vikings. Now, I want to get into the team that I think actually had the best, and maybe I misspoke with the Vikings. Again, I think they had a top 3, but to me, this is probably the team that had the best, and that is the Commanders. The Commanders this offseason have went fully in, as should the Niners have, but the Niners did not. Instead, we got the Commanders, who, you look at this team, man, last year, they were a couple plays away. Look, they got blown the fuck out by the Eagles, but when you look at it in that beginning game, they were a couple of players and plays away from gaining momentum and being able to actually compete with the Eagles. And that is exactly what the hell they did this offseason. They traded for Deebo Samuel. Again, and if people say that Deebo is washed, I can... besides the 49ers. Want to know why? They were top 7 in screen passes last year. But in the top 7, they were dead last in yards per screenplay. Deebo Samuel, when he gets the ball in his hands, he could take it to the house. Great fucking trade for them. Again, that wide receiver tandem, if Deebo is decent, is going to be phenomenal. And then they get rid of, they don't get rid of, but they take care of one of the main aspects of their team that needed help, which was offensive tackle. They get Laramie Tunsil. Again, why the fuck the Niners didn't trade or try to trade for them or for him is beyond me, but they trade with the Texans and they get Laramie Tunsil, who again is a top 10 offensive tackle in the league. Then you sign Javon Kinlaw, who has been a better defensive tackle in this league. He's more of a rotating guy. He played for the Niners as well, but last year kind of made more of a name for himself with the Jets. And honestly, I think he'll go in and be a rotating guy that is great. And especially when you get rid of a Jonathan Allen, you got to bring someone in, and not to say that he's going to completely take over for Allen, but he'll be a good rotating guy for sure. And then they get Will Harris, safety, who's been consistent for a while now. Some key re-signings, they get Bobby Wagner, Zach Ertz, who were veterans that made plays all the way through the fucking playoffs. Punter Tressway, who I don't really know too much, and backup quarterback Marcus Mariota. Decent. Key departures, Jeremy Chin, Jonathan Allen, Diami Brown, and Cornelius Lucas. Again, a lot of those positions and these players are really, really good. By the way, I want to shout out to the Raiders because Jeremy Chin is a great fucking pickup for them.
Yep.
We're not going to talk about the Raiders, but that was a great fucking pickup for them, and I love that. I told Tyler that as well. However, the Commanders are more than okay at these positions that they got rid of some of these guys. And the positions that they really needed to upgrade, they did. And they did that beyond what they should have. And they're going on. They said, look, we saw what the Eagles did last year. We're going to try to fucking match you talent for talent. And you look at that roster, it's almost there. It's almost there, man. They're going to be a fucking force to reckon with in the NFC. I'm telling you. That NFC East conference is going to be fucking fun. But, yeah, we'll move on. Moving on to, again, I think probably the third best or second best, the Broncos. I mean, you look at this Broncos team, and they're just stealing everyone from the fucking 49ers, unfortunately. But, I mean, they've had a great, great offseason. Some of the fucking positions that they needed, linebacker, safety, and tight end. Key additions, Talanoa Hufanga, coming off an injury, all-pro. Look, I watched him play. When he plays, he is a ball hawk and a tackling machine. However, he's injury-prone. Linebacker, Dre Greenlaw. If you know me, and this will be part of the crash out, this is one of the better players in the league that got fucked because of an Achilles injury, and they just got him for cheap, relatively cheap. Tight end, Evan Ingram. Again, we've seen what he's been doing in Jacksonville. He is a stud when he plays. Those three guys may be a little bit injury prone. However, when they play, they are fucking great. Then you re-sign DJ Jones, who again is more of a rotating guy, but he plugs up the fucking middle. That defense is going to be top 5. I'm guaranteeing it. Guarantee you it.
Hufunga, Greenlaw, and Surtain.
Dude, it's going to be fucking disgusting. They keep Jared Stidham. They keep Matt Peart, who had a decent year. I'm not too familiar with him. And then they also keep Jaquan McMillan. They get rid of, and this is what I meant to say earlier, Cody Barton, and then running back Javonte Williams. And they get rid of him to the Cowboys. Cowboys. 2 years in a row where you guys have not done shit. I mean, life like this sure is sweet for you guys, huh? That is fucking horrible. Again, I can't really speak, at least for this year, but that is 2 years in a row where you guys have not signed anyone. And then we'll get into 2 other teams just because this is taking a little bit. The Colts and the Broncos I want to talk about. I'm sorry, not the Broncos, the Bears. The Colts, I think, had a great draft or free agency. They really needed help in the secondary, and they got that. They got Cameron Bynum and Tavarius Ward for whatever it's worth. Again, will be part of the crash out. Tavarius last year had kind of a bad season. He had a lot happen to him, but when he's healthy, he is a top 10 quarterback in the league. And we've seen Cameron Bynum last year make a ton of plays. You saw all the celebrations with him, the Vikings. He's great. They also signed Khalil Herbert, great running back to be a backup. And Daniel Jones, don't really know what that is, but he could be starting. Kind of fucking crazy, but call me even crazier. He could be starting by like week 6. If Anthony Richardson is fucking ass, Daniel Jones could be a starter for a team that is decent. Anyways, key re-signings, Braden Smith, who's one of the better tackles in the league. That is a great fucking signing. And Ashton Dolan, never heard of him. Key departures, Ryan Kelly, who's the center. Again, like I said, he's a top 5 center. That one's tough. Offensive guard, Will Fries, who's been a decent starter. And then Deo Odeyungbo from the Bears. Don't really know who that is. I believe he's a guard as well. But I think that was a fucking solid offseason for them. Look, they had money to spend last year. They didn't really do anything. And this year, they've spent a good amount. And I think that is going to help them in the long run. And then the Bears, I won't speak too much on this, but I think the Bears have had a phenomenal offseason. I mean, and look. They're
ready to protect Caleb. They are ready to protect Caleb.
I don't want to be this guy, but I'm going to be a Glazer. Next year, I could see them making the playoffs. And it doesn't even come down to who they got, which we'll go through right now. They got O-lineman Jonah Jackson from the Rams, who, when he was healthy 2 years ago, he was a Pro Bowler. Joe Thuney, who is probably the best offensive lineman in free agency, but they traded for him, so I didn't really know he was in free agency. He's one of the best offensive linemen in the league. Edge Deo Odeyungbo, who was the guy that we just talked about from the Colts. Don't really know too much about him. Defensive tackle Grady Jarrett, who, if you know and you've been following from the Falcons, he's been a top 10 defensive tackle for a while now. And then center Drew Dahlman, who's been decent as well. They also re-signed their linebacker. I'm not even going to try to say that. Amen Ogbongmaga. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say that. Cornerback Josh Blackwell, who's been decent. And then defensive tackle Chris Williams. They got rid of Coleman Shelton, who was an offensive lineman that was asked last year because they were last in the league. But if you only look at this, you could say, okay, that's an A offseason. But what they've done with coaching, and not only what they have done with coaching, but what they have done with switching the culture, I think, in just a free agency is huge for Caleb Williams. Huge. The coaching's fucking phenomenal. I think that was the best coaching decision that any team had made. I think he was the best candidate last year. I think that what the Bears have done, not only with players, but coaches, has been great. So I could see the Bears making the playoffs next year, and if they don't next year, it'll be the year prior or the year after because they are definitely on the brinks of making it. And that leaves us to the last team winner. A big winner, Anthony. You know who I'm waiting for? The fucking 49ers. The 49ers, baby. It's time to fully crash the fuck out. And before you fucking say anything, fuck you. I am fucking pissed. I am fucking fully pissed. If you think that I'm being serious right now, I am not, because the Niners are not fucking winners of this free agency. They are fucking losers. Big old fucking slobbering losers. What the flying fuck are we doing? We lose 6 games last year. With the Super Bowl roster, you make a couple of moves. You could be playing at your fucking home stadium with the easiest schedule as a Super Bowl contending team. But instead, you get rid of 10 players. 10 players. 10 of them. Elijah Mitchell, Travarius Ward, Hargraves, Floyd, Debo, Dre Greenlaw, Aaron Banks. Who else is here? Hufunga. The list literally goes on. There's 10, and all those guys have been elite, if not Pro Bowlers. There's 5 Pro Bowlers here. 5 Pro Bowlers. 5 Pro Bowlers. And we've added a couple of cornerbacks and a safety and 2 tight ends. Why the fuck are we signing tight ends that block? They don't do anything.
Oh, and a receiver.
Oh my God, and Demarcus Robinson. And don't forget our number 1 fucking prospect that we got to fucking pick up today. Guess who it was? A backup fucking quarterback in Mac Jones.
Hopefully it's a backup.
Anthony, there's 3 things that are happening with the Niners. 3 things. And I'm gonna go and list. I'm gonna list what I think it is based off of what I think actually is happening. So number 1, this is what I think is happening. The Niners are getting rid of all these guys because Brock Purdy is going to get signed for way too much, meaning $50 to $57 million a year. He could be a top 5 quarterback or maybe top 10 to the highest quarterback paid ever. There's no range in between that to me. Like, I think his minimum that he's going to make is 50 down here to 57 up here. That's what I think is happening. They're getting rid of these guys because not only do they think they're getting older, but they need the money to sign Brock. Personally, that's what I think is happening. Number 2, the Niners are starting to rebuild, and they think that they can draft as well as the Eagles did last year. However, they also think that the guys that they have are going to play almost as well as the Eagles' young players did last year, and they think they can get away with it with the easiest schedule. Now, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan will not be fired if they make the playoffs, but if they don't, then it's worrisome because you had a Super Bowl roster with 2 moves going into this offseason. Instead, you get rid of 12 guys, 5 All-Pros. So that's option number 2. Option number 3, and this one is the one that I don't think is least likely, or I think is most likely, I think is least likely to happen. They have something just hiding under their sleeve. Something's happening. Maybe they sign Brock for little and they go and trade for someone. Very, very, very unlikely. And the reason I say that is because John Lynch specifically during the combine said the last couple of years we have spent the second most in free agency. We are not going to spend a lot this year, meaning we are starting a rebuild. So the Niners basically, in my opinion, out of those 3 options, I think you combine the first 2. The Niners are paying Brock too much. They're starting a rebuild and getting rid of older players / players that they think are worth not as much as they're getting. Why the fuck did we get rid of fucking Dre Greenlaw? I don't give a fuck about any of these other fucking guys. Dre Greenlaw and Juszczyk. Why the fuck did we get rid of them? Juszczyk was worth $4 million. Dre Greenlaw, when he was on the field last year, when he came back from his Achilles injury, had 12 tackles. 12 tackles in the first half, Anthony. First half of a game. If you do the math, that's 24. You do the math even more. 24 times fucking 17. That is 400 tackles. I mean,
yeah.
That was the one guy. And then you don't even go after Allen? You don't go after Allen and you don't fucking sign Joey? $10 million! $10 million. You offered Joey fucking Bosa $10 million. Nick's fucking brother $10 million. Thinking that no one else would fucking offer him?
They were mistaken. Clearly.
Easiest schedule in the fucking league. Super Bowl is at your fucking stadium. And you have 2 moves and you are back as a Super Bowl contender. But instead, you get rid of everyone. I'm pissed. I'm fucking pissed. That's all I'm going to say. You had 3 fucking great things going for you. Super Bowl at your house. Super Bowl fucking contending roster. All you had to do was make 2 moves, and you're probably the second favorite in the NFC. But instead, you fucking do that.
I mean, honestly, you guys would be the first. Honestly, you guys would have been the first, the number 1 in the NFC.
Schedule.
Yeah, exactly.
Schedule. 2 moves, and you're probably number 1 in the NFC. And the Super Bowl is at your house. And now instead we have to probably watch the fucking Eagles. I don't even want to fucking say it. I don't even fucking want to say it. The Eagles go back-to-back on our goddamn turf because John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan fucked up all the contracts in the fucking past. Dude, fuck you. Also, Debo, fuck your pussy ass. I'm fucking done with you. All you did was complain, and then you moved on and said, all love, all love. It is all love. I love you, Debo. You were fucking awesome for us. However, you complain too much, and I really, really hope that the Commanders will use you the way that you think you're going to be used. That's the end of my crash out.
Now, maybe less of a crash out here, okay? For the people that don't know, Zach, explain what these two moves could have been.
What did you say? You went in and out. Hold on a second.
Oh, I said...
I'm going to cut that. Hold on. 42. Okay. Sorry. Go for it at...
30.
42-30.
So, in a less of a crash out, maybe explain to some of the viewers, because maybe they don't know what you're talking about, what would be the two moves that you keep bringing up? What would you do differently? What are your two moves that you're thinking?
I would have kept all the players, gone all in for one more year. Year. You have the easiest schedule in the NFL. You pay them whatever you need. You sign Brock to a $45 million contract per year. That's it. Instead, they're going to sign him for more than that. And then you go and sign an Allen, and you go for a defensive end / offensive tackle like Laramie Tunsil if he's available. You sign or draft Will Campbell, get another defensive lineman, and that's it. It was literally defensive lineman, offensive lineman, sign everyone back to it, get some protection for Brock, maybe get another linebacker, and that's it. But instead, they did everything wrong. And realistically, what they're doing is planning on, and fuck, this fucking sucks to say. This really, really does suck to say. They're planning on a retool. I'm not going to fully call it a, what's the word I'm looking for?
Build?
A rebuild. Thank you. But they're retooling. They're keeping some of the veterans that are there, and they're trying to draft and sign some guys that are younger. And I don't blame them, but it's really because of Brock. And I'm not blaming Brock. I think Brock deserves the money, but $55 million is too much. And that's the end of my crash out.
Hot take from an outsider's perspective. I think 50 mil is too much.
Yeah, I mean,
I think 45 should be the max in my opinion.
50 million to me is the max.
I think 45 mil is the max for me.
Now, if you were to say what I think he's worth, I would say that he's probably not worth 45 million. But if you looked at the quarterback market, there's just no way he's not worth 45 million.
And
like
the
Tua,
reason why I'm saying
Tua is making 51 million a year.
And he should not be. And that, exactly. But I think that's what I'm looking at, though. I'm not even looking at the quarterback market. Trevor Lawrence is ridiculous. I know, but
and the Niners have to too.
And that's the shitty thing, though, too, because when we were talking about this, I told you I'm not looking at the market. And you said why? I was like, because I don't think Brock is there. I'm not saying that to be disrespectful towards Brock, because yes, I think Brock Purdy's a great quarterback, but he's not, and I personally don't even think he's worth 45. That's what I'm saying. 45 is the max. But obviously, you are right, though, in that sense, too, though, right? You have to look at that
quarterback market, man. Yeah.
And that's the shitty thing, too.
As a 49ers fan, I think I could talk for everyone here. We are crushed. Like, honestly, it's just nub at this point. Like, it sucks fully. But it is what it is, and there's really nothing we can do except hope for the best. We got 4 more teams on here. I'm going to run through them kind of quick. The Eagles, again, I think the Eagles are so talented that they can kind of get away with doing what they're doing. But they did have a lot of key departures. And look, I think the Eagles have been great at drafting, and they're probably going to have to be better because they got rid of Josh Sweat, Milton Williams, Isaiah Rodgers, Gardner Johnson, and I believe a couple more players. So, again, that defense has turned from a veteran and a young defense combined to just fully hoping that your defense makes the step up that they did last year based off of how young they were. So you go with some young guys. I think that they have the talent to do it. I'm not too worried for the Eagles, but I will say it was not a great free agency, and that makes sense. They had to do that. The Texans, again, is another team that I think just did not have a great offseason. If I was a Texans fan, I'd be fucking pressed because you were on the brinks of making the playoffs and being a contender in the playoffs. You did make the playoffs, but being a contender in the playoffs, and you do this. You get Christian Kirk, Darrell Taylor, Braxton Berrios, Gardner Johnson, which, again, Gardner Johnson, CJ, if you fucking watch him on any other team, he is ass. He's great in the Eagles system. He is not good on other systems. And then you sign Lincoln Tomlinson, who was a Niner at one point, not a great guard, overpaid him. And then key departures. I mean, you get rid of Laramie Tunsil, who, again, last year was great. That offensive line, I believe, was fifth worst for pressures. So maybe he was an issue. But, again, who do you fucking replace him with? No one. You get rid of Eric Murray. Who was your safety? No one. Offensive guard, again, if it was the fifth worst last year and you get rid of your starting offensive guard, Kenyon Green, who are you replacing him with? No one. They didn't do that. They are going to. I think he'll have a bounce back year, but dude, with that offensive line, they are going to be tough to watch. They're going to be fun with their playmakers just like last year, but who's going to protect them? That is the key thing. Another team that I feel like just didn't really do much when they should have because they're on the brinks of being a contender as well are the Chargers. I mean, they re-signed Khalil Mack. They got rid of Joey Bosa. They got rid of Josh Palmer. They got rid of their defensive tackle Ford. Got rid of an offensive guard. Got rid of Christian Fulton to the Chiefs, which sucks. And the only thing that they did was sign Dante Jackson and running back Najee Harris. They also, I believe you said right before this that they re-signed Mike Williams, who was completely washed, but that was the main thing that they needed, a wide receiver. You miss out in the beginning of the whole free agency on wide receivers, and then you don't even do anything for it, and that was your huge concern last year. They didn't have a fucking wide receiver that was decent, let alone consistent, and you don't do anything to change that, you better draft someone. And then the last one that I wanted to bring up, and this one I think sucks, and to be honest with you, I hate to say this, but if I was Joe Burrow, I would request a trade because what they've done in the last two offseasons has been fucking diabolical. They get rid of right guard Alex Kappa. Again, been a decent right guard. They get rid of Sam Hubbard. He retired. Again, he was fucking phenomenal. Keem Davis-Gaithers, who was a linebacker they get rid of, and they get rid of Khalil Herbert. They franchise tag T. Higgins again. They still have to pay him and our boy Jamar Chase. Not looking good. Defensive lineman, they signed B.J. Hill, wasn't great. They re-signed Mike Gesicki, who I think is a decent one. Cody Ford, who is known on TikTok more than he is on the field. Cornerback Marco Wilson and defensive end Joseph Ozea. Again, nothing. And then key additions. Anthony, last year, what was wrong with the fucking Cincinnati Bengals?
Their defense was shit.
Their defense was dog shit. Key additions. Defensive tackle. To Daryl Slayton. Anthony, have you ever heard of Slayton?
Or Darius Slayton.
Exactly. Samaj P. Ryan and linebacker Oren Burks, who was a backup on at the 49ers, who is struggling with linebackers. So you don't do anything with the defense. Again, I'm just lost. Some of these teams, you're right on the brinks of fucking actually competing for a Super Bowl, and you do something like that. That makes no sense for the Bengals, in my opinion.
It makes no sense.
Why wouldn't you move on any of these defenders? Anyways, that's our winners and losers. Sorry for the crash out, and I'm happy for you, man. Hopefully you can get more than 3 fucking victories. And just because of that, we're going to do a little celebration. Anthony, our next segment is specifically for you, man. Are you ready for this?
Yeah,
you guys
sure.
Like I said, we're going to do an overview of kind of everything that's happened, similar to what we did during the season. So like for off-season, we'll go through it, and then we'll probably do like winners and losers, news, stuff like that. However, we're going to bring back some segments that we did in the past, a little bit of games. And one of the most exciting games I think that we did, and it did get a lot of views as well, but it's also fun to play, are the blind rankings. And because the Patriots had a top 3 offseason, I thought what better way to start than to blind rank players that have played for the Patriots since 2000. Anthony, Are you ready, buddy?
Ready? Let's fucking do it, man.
1 through 5. Since 2000. Your first player, Rob Gronkowski.
Dude. Arguably the best tight end in the NFL. You gotta be shitting me.
Since 2000. Think about all those players.
There's so many though.
Oh, I know. And that's why I chose 2000.
God, I really hope you did not put Brady in this shit. If you put Brady in here, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna put, you know what? I'm gonna put Gronk in my number 2 spot.
Okay. At your number 2, or I should say, your second player is Vince Wilfork.
Oh, shit. Dude, he was a beast. Dude, it sucks too. Bro was huge.
He was huge. He's skinny now.
No way.
I swear to God, I'll pull it up. Just let me know what you think.
Fuck. I think. Oh, man. Okay. Making my
5,
list.
4.
Putting him in my
3,
4. Putting him in my
2.
4.
Okay, at 4. So we got Gronk at 2 and Wilfork at 4. Also,
Yes.
I'm going to show this to you right now. Look at this. Share screen. Entire screen. Do you see it?
No.
Oh, shit. Sorry. Look at that, dude. He
Dude.
lost a lot of fucking weight.
Dude,
That's crazy,
he looks good. He looks good.
Good for him. Not good enough to be top 3, though, huh?
It's since 2000s, dude.
We'll see.
Oh,
Your third player is Danny Amendola.
Oh. Okay. I have weird opinions about Danny Amendola. I'm not even gonna lie. He played great for us. He's kind of a bitch lightweight, not gonna lie. So I'm gonna put him in my 5.
Wow. Wow.
Putting-
Okay. Okay.
And like I have my reasons for it. He was phenomenal. I'm not shitting on, not saying he was bad at all. He was fucking outstanding for us. But he kind of a bitch though. Putting him in my 5.
Right. All right. Your fourth player, Dante Hightower.
Oh my
Linebacker.
Dude, you gotta be fucking kidding me. You're putting Hightower in here now, and I have 1 and 3.
Yep.
Dude. Oh.
And all I'm gonna say is, would I do it?
You wouldn't put Brady in here. You wouldn't. I know you wouldn't. But I feel like you have someone else though that's fucking phenomenal in here right after Hightower.
No.
I'm putting Hightower in the 3. As much as I honestly would put him in the 1, I would put him at 3. I'm gonna put him at 3.
All right. Well, Ant, you did well.
I did
You
well.
wanna know why?
Why?
Because your number 1 player, Drew Bledsoe.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad.
I had to throw him in. I wanted to
I'm
throw
not
you
mad.
off.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad. Honestly,
This
I'm okay
honestly
with that.
went exactly how I thought it was gonna go. So at number 1, you have Drew Bledsoe. Number 2, you have Gronk. Number 3, you have Hightower. Number 4, you have Wilfork. And number 5, you have Danny. And to be honest with you, if you didn't think that Brady was gonna be there, all you would have to do is put Drew at 5 and move every single one up, and it would have been perfect. So honestly, you handled it perfectly.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
That was
I
honestly
probably,
phenomenal.
yeah, no, honestly, I would have put Drew at
No,
5.
that's exactly what I would have done
Yeah.
too.
And honestly, realistically too, it's not like Drew Bledsoe was bad. I mean,
No.
we're gonna go back. I mean, I'm sorry. Shout out to Nikki Glazer. I'm stealing your joke here. Drew bled so Tom could run. That's pretty much like doing it like straight up. So I'm honestly, all in all, I'm not pissed with this, but
it was decent. It was good.
Not bad. Not bad. Ooh.
First one of the off season. First fucking episode completely finished too.
Oh man.
First episode of the off season done. Anthony, do you have anything to finish this off with?
All I'm gonna say is go Patriots. I hope we get more than 4 wins. I hope we can actually prove ourselves that we can be out there. And honestly, I'm not going to expect us to be in a playoff position this year. But honestly, if it looks good this year and how we are right now on paper and everything, get a few good receivers out there. Finally, get ourselves a wide receiver 1. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. In the next year or 2, I see us in playoffs. Not saying we'll go far. Sure. I'm saying I see us in playoffs.
I think your defense is good enough to actually take you to the playoffs. And to be honest with you, I didn't hear the first part of what you had said. I'm hoping it didn't cut out, but if it did, sorry. If it didn't, I'm assuming you were talking about the Patriots and getting more than 4 wins.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Yes.
I think that's inevitable. So,
yes.
Hell of an offseason for you. At least start to it because there's still some stuff that you can do. Draft a wide receiver 1, and maybe I'll be a Patriots fan next year. Guys,
fuck, man.
I want to formally apologize. That's the first time I've really crashed out on this podcast. And there's probably more to come. So I apologize for the first one. There's plenty more to come based off of this offseason. But that wraps up our episode. Catch us in 2 weeks. Please like, subscribe, comment, and keep us posted with what you guys want to hear.